An email reached our newsroom today and it included this statement. The RNC and Team Romney will start pushing new messaging ahead of the president's trip to Ohio on Saturday. Hype and blame 2012. Rather than getting into the hype and the blame issue, there's a bigger one here. How are the RNC and Team Romney teaming up while a Republican primary is underway? Ben has the reality check you won't see anywhere else.
Well, not only is the national media content with the idea that Mitt Romney is now the Republican nominee, apparently so is the Republican National Committee. 2 weeks ago, the RNC chairman announced Governor Romney's strong performance and delegate count at this stage of the primary process has made him our party's presumptive nominee. In order to maximize our efforts, I have directed my staff at the RNC to open lines of communication with the Romney campaign. That may not sound too alarming to most people, and yet it is extremely problematic. Why is that? Because essentially the RNC chair is violating the rules of the Republican Party. Rule 11 of the Republican Party rules states that the Republican National Committee shall not, without the prior written and filed approval of all members of the Republican National Committee from the state involved, contribute money or in-kind aid to any candidate for any public or party office except the nominee of the Republican Party, or a candidate who was unopposed in the Republican primary after the filing deadline for that office. And clearly, we are still in a primary. It's not up to the Republican leadership as to whether or not Romney is the only candidate in the race, because he is not. Congressman Ron Paul, of course, is still in the running in the primary. But since he is so far behind, does it even matter? Here's why it matters. I've been telling you for months now about the fight for delegates in the state conventions, where those unbound delegates are. But over the weekend, some stunning things took place in the Republican race. Keeping up with the delegate count is hard. In fact, there's a new website, thereal2012delegate.com. It lays it out pretty clearly. In Louisiana, get this, the district caucuses were held on Saturday. At the district level, 150 delegates move on to the state contest, where they will elect 46 delegates to go to the national convention. Louisiana has bound delegates. And yet, on Saturday, 111 of the 150 district delegates elected are Ron Paul supporters. Also on Saturday, Mitt Romney's home state of Massachusetts held its own congressional delegate caucus. They chose 19 delegates to go on to Tampa. But as the Daily Caller points out, 16 of those 19 are also Ron Paul delegates. The 16 delegates supporting Paul are bound to vote for Romney on the first ballot at the Republican National Convention. If Romney does not achieve the required number of votes on the first ballot, the delegates can vote for the candidate of their choice. Again, so writes the Daily Caller. And that was my understanding until I was directed to the Republican National Convention rules for 2008 and 2010. And shockingly, that may not be the case at all. Way down at the end of the RNC rules is rule number 38. That rule consists of only one sentence. No delegate or alternate delegate shall be bound by any attempt of any state or congressional district to impose the unit rule. So what is the unit rule? Well, that rule requires that all delegates from one state or congressional district are required or bound to vote as a unit. So what you need to know? If Rule 38 is applied, not only does Mitt Romney not currently have enough delegates to secure the nomination, which he doesn't at this point, but he and Rick Santorum may have actually both lost a combined 62 delegates since last weekend. And most importantly, if those bound delegates are not bound at all under the unit rule, since most states are just now getting around to those state conventions, then this primary contest really only just started. This could be a fight on the convention floor. And that is Reality Check.
If you'd like to make your voice heard on the story, head over to Ben's Facebook page. You can find it by searching Ben Swann, WXIX.